What's up YouTubers, this is Chaitanya and welcome to my channel Nature Design, and the theme for today's project is Jack and the Beanstalk Terrarium. You might have heard the story of Jack and the Beanstalk when we were small, that the family of Jack was very poor, and just to obtain some money for the livelihood, his mom gave him a cow and told him to sell the cow in the market. But instead of the money, Jack dealt the cow with some magic beans, and those magic beans just grew up so much tall, and they reached the palace of an monster. And from there, Jack got a hen which can give golden eggs. So I have thought that why not making a terrarium for this particular story. And this is the palace up above in the cloud, which I have made using styrofoam or say thermocol. Later on I colored it with acrylic color, and the vines which you can see, one of them is a wood. It's not a driftwood, it's just a wood which I found out in my area. And for making this wine, I've used thread. I tied it twice or thrice as per the thickness I wanted, and I coated it with silicone and later on dipped it with in the dry cocoa peat. So this is the very easiest way to make fake wines for this kind of projects. For the false bottom, I'll be using this thing. I don't know the name of this thing, but it's just like an egg carrot. It was lying around in my friend's house, and I asked for it, and he gave it to me. And this will be used as a false bottom. I have always told you that there are several things that we can use as a false bottom, and this is one of them. Mosquito mesh to avoid the substrate from falling into the false bottom. Charcoal to purify the water in the terrarium. For substrate, I have made some changes in it. I'm just using dry cocoa peat, dry moss and sand or soil. I have skipped the part of coconut bark. In plants, I have plenty of different species, like this is Fittonia, the red Fittonia. I do have the green Fittonia, and this one is a very different species of creeping pig. This is kind of a hybrid, and I found out this plant in the stores and I bought it. This is just for $30, and then I will be using some cuttings of, I think it is a hydrophilia, the aquarium species of the plants, and of course some badge moss. And I do have the seed box plants, but there are very little leaves in that. The leaves are gone, but I think it is growing back again, and so I'll be using some small cuttings from this one too. And let's see what can we add much more in this. So let's get started. Yes, of course, I have collected some rocks in our area, and I'll be also using these rocks for the hardscape purpose. Now I've placed the false bottom and then the mosquito mesh. The mosquito mesh was a bit small, so what I did, I put more charcoal in the corners so that the substrate shouldn't fall down. Now I'm setting the substrate. Now we will plant the hardscape castle and the vines first. I'm hydrating it, and now I'm placing some moss on it. And after placing the moss, I'm not tying the moss, I'm just placing it in between the vines. Now I'm just wrapping the hydrophilia, and even this plant I'm not going to tie any of these plants to it. I'll be placing it in between the vines so that it will be attached to the vines, or it will stay in that way. Similarly, the creeping fig, I'm doing the same thing with that. And this is how it looks when I have prepared it properly. All the vines are original live plants which I have wrapped up around the castle and around the vines. Now I am placing the hardscape inside. I tried it several times, but the hardscape was now and then falling here and there. So what I did, for temporary basis, I have stick it with a glue gun, the hot glue gun. I have just placed the castle in a proper way which I wanted in the middle, and I just glued it at the back of the glass. I am planting the Petunia, keeping some stone. See what has happened. The castle was moving a lot, and that's the reason later on I glued it with the glue gun. And I also applied some silicone at the back so that in future it sets up properly. Although the glue gun is for the temporary basis, but the silicone will stick it and hold it at the back. Now I am placing the cuttings of seed box plant, the Mashi seed box plant. Now the green Petunia towards the left. I'm also placing some dwarf baby tears in several places. This will cover up whole ground. I've also added a small cutting of watermelon vine towards the right of the terrarium. I'm spraying some water now to keep it hydrated, and now I am placing some badge moss because it was looking too much empty in the front. So I'm placing the badge moss as well as the dwarf baby. They will take over towards the ground, and the whole ground will be green in color, and it will look really good. Now it's time to add up some cleanup crew, the springtails. And that's it. We are done. Now I'm hydrating the plants again. So we are done with it. Please let me know in the comment box what do you think about it. I think it really looks good, and the vines which are around the castle, the leaves will be growing in few days around the vines. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit the subscription button, because there are plenty of new projects and a very unique project, like I said every time, and I have given you every time a unique project. There are plenty of unique projects coming up in the future, so please go ahead and hit the subscription button if you want to get updated about the other projects. And thanks for watching this video. See you next week. Bye bye.